Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am excited to bring you the crochet version of the Wednesday Addams sweater vest. So for those who watched my previous video, it was of the knitted version, and I believe most of the people here just know how to crochet, and I had to make a version that favors most of the subscribers on my channel. So the materials that you'll need are a measuring tape. I'll be using this to take the measurement of the patches that we are going to sew together. Then you also need a crochet hook. I'm using a 4.5mm crochet hook, which is a G hook. And then you also need a darning needle to weave in your ends. You also need a pair of scissors. And for the yarn, I'm using the same exact yarn as I used for the knitted version, but this time less yarn. I believe I think I used about 4 balls of each and every color, and I'm only using black and white. So each ball of this is about 130 yards, and I needed about just 4 balls. But if you're making for a bigger size, just increase by 2 balls just to be on a safe side. So if I'm using 4 balls for black, then just have 6 on you. If you are even making for a bigger size, then you have to have at least 3 extra balls for yourself. So 4 balls of black, 4 balls of white to make an extra small size. And I'm going to tell you why my vest is turning out to be extra small. So for my previous video, I used this same exact measuring tape to measure the patches, and they were 6 inches across and 5 inches deep. So it was a 6 by 5 measurement for each and every patch, and that's exactly what I followed when I was making the patches for this crochet version. But then I forgot that when you're crocheting, the pieces tend to shrink, and when you measure right now, it reduces by almost an inch. So I didn't put that into consideration. So I decided to just go with the starting chain, and then when I went back on it to crochet on it, it shrunk by 1 inch. So you have to consider that while you're working, and I'll be mentioning what to do for the different sizes as we make this vest. And let's get started. This vest is going to be worked using a textured stitch. I think it's called the bin stitch or the mini bin stitch, I don't know. But yeah, this is the texture that we are working with. For those who haven't yet tried this texture, I have several projects that you can try out. I have the patchwork cardigan, the sweater vest, and it's a very good texture for different projects. So let's get started. So you're going to get your very first color. For me, that will be white. Just like this, we're going to create this patch. So you're going to make a slip knot. And you're going to make a chain of 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And as we can see here, let me get my measuring tape. As you can see here, when we stretch it slightly, we get our 6 inches when slightly stretched. So that's what I considered, not remembering that crochet shrinks when you work on it. So this will be for an extra small size. If your size medium, this will be extra small to small, I believe. Then size medium, you're going to add 4 chains. So as you go up sizes, just add 4 chains. So 20 for extra small to small, 24 for medium, 28 for large, and maybe 32 for XL, because just one change on one patch applies to all the patches of the vest, and that ends up sizing up the vest. So you're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So not this one, but this one. You're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. yarn over, insert your hook into the same exact chain, pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through all. So that's our stitch for today. You're going to chain 1, skip the next chain, and into the next chain you're going to repeat the same exact process. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook again into the same exact chain, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through all. So that's what we are going to repeat. Chain 1, skip 1 chain, 1 bin stitch into the next chain. Just watch what I'm doing. We are just repeating the same exact process as we did before. Chain 1, skip 1 chain, 1 bin stitch into the next bin stitch, into the next chain, sorry. So you're going to have those bundles like that, and you're going to do that all the way across. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the starting chain, it should be an even number of chains. So 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. So depending on the size that you're working with. So continue working your bin stitches all the way across until you have a total of only 2 chains left on your row. As you can see here, we have this one and this one. So you're going to chain 1 and skip the second last chain and go into the very last one with 1 bin stitch. Alright, so we are done with row 1 and we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 bin stitches. The number of bin stitches that you'll have at the end of row 1 will be half the number of starting chains that you started with. So I started with 20 chains and I have a total of 10 bin stitches across. So let's go on to row 2. You're going to chain 1, turn your work. We don't work anything in the chain 1 spaces. That's something that you have to note for this stitch. So you're going to chain 1 and turn your work and go into that space that's attached to the bin stitch. You can see the chain 1 space is here, but we have this space that's attached to the bin stitch here. So you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook and yarn over, pull through all. So that has created our very first bin stitch on row 2. So you're going to chain 1, go into the next space that's attached to the next bin stitch, which is this one, and create a bin stitch. So same exact process. Chain 1, go into the next bin stitch, insert your hook. It's like the stitch already creates for us room for us to make the next bin stitch. As you can see here, we have those holes that are created. That's where we are placing the bin stitches. So you're going to just continue doing that. 1 bin stitch, chain 1, 1 bin stitch into the next bin stitch, chain 1, and repeat that all the way across. So the number of bin stitches that you should have for row 2 is the same exact number of bin stitches that you had for row 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that means we have only 1 bin stitch left. And after your chain of 1 here, you're going to you're going to insert your hook into the very last bin stitch, pull up a loop, and yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch. When you have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. And that's how to create the bin stitch. Row 3 is going to be a chain of 1 and turn your work, and we are basically going to repeat the same exact process. Just start with the very first bin stitch and create a bin stitch there, and continue to create 1 bin stitch into each and every bin stitch, and make sure you separate each bin stitch with a chain 1 space. This stitch works up really fast and it's a very dense texture. That's why I love it. I've used it for several projects, and I'll be attaching some of those projects for you in the description box if you wish to try out some of them. I have a durag, I have a balaclava using this same exact stitch. I have a beanie, I have cardigans, I have sweater vests. So there's a lot you can do with this stitch, and I already have tutorials for you guys that you can check out in the description box. So this is what we have. Now we're going to keep repeating row 2 and row 3, which is the same exact row, until we get a total of 14 rows. Now the 14 rows give us a total of 5 inches almost. You can see that. So that means the length was maintained just like we had for the knitted sweater vest, but then it's the width that shrunk by 1 inch. So that means if you're making size small to medium, extra small, small to medium, this should be enough. These rows should be enough. 14 rows of the bin stitch. If you're making size large, you're going to make sure you do 2 rows up for each and every size. So if you're making size large, you're going to do a total of 16 rows. Remember, this change on only one patch is going to affect all the other patches, because what you do here is the same thing that you're going to do for the next color, So you're going to find that the size for extra large is wide and even longer to accommodate the bust area, because if we make the same exact length and we put it on size up, it may end up being so short. So that's why I am altering the number of rows as well as the number of stitches. So small to medium, this will be enough, 14 rows. Large, you do 16. Extra large, 18 rows. And then XXL, you can go to 20 rows. So that's the sequence that you have to follow. So now you're going to just keep working until you have your desired number of rows for the bin stitch for your size. And then when you finish the number of rows that you need, you're going to just chain 1 and cut your yarn, and the first patch will be finished. Now let's go on to our second color, and I teach you how to attach the next color. All right, so you're going to get your color B, which is black for me, and you're going to make a slip knot. Just pay attention. It's the color that I'm working with. I hope the stitches can be seen, but basically we are going to just do the same exact thing. So you're going to insert your hook where you would have placed the very first bin stitch. So into that first bin stitch, and you're going to attach your black yarn. So after this, you're going to chain 1 and then go into that same exact bin stitch with 1 bin stitch. So insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the same exact stitch, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook, just like we've been doing before, and yarn over, pull through all. And then you're going to chain 1, go into the next bin stitch and create a bin stitch. So nothing changes at this point. Nothing changes. So we're just basically repeating row 2, but just in a different color. The only difference is we've attached a contrasting color. Okay, so when we are done with row 15 or whatever row that you're on right now, you're going to just chain 1 and turn your work, and then you're going to continue to create the bin stitch. making sure that you maintain the number of bin stitches for each and every row. So if you had a total of 20 bin stitches, make sure if you had a total of 10 bin stitches across, you're going to make sure that you still have a total of 10 bin stitches for the next row. So that's it. I am going to just continue working until I have the same exact number of rows for black, just like I had here. So I had a total of 14 rows down here, and I want a total of 14 rows all the way up for my black color. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back after. Alright guys, so I am done with the number of rows that I need for my black patch, and that's a total of 14. So go ahead and make the number of rows that you need for yours, and you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn and pull through, leaving a tail behind. So this is what we have, and I forgot to mention this, I don't know why. I started from the exact middle patch, the middle section that's going to have the v-neck shaping. That's what I've started with. So for the next row, you're going to grab your yarn, your next color, which for me is white. I'm just doing black and white, and you're going to make a slip knot, and then you're going to attach into this very first bin stitch next to the tail that you left behind, and then you're going to chain 1, and instead of going into the very first bin stitch, you're going to go into the second, because now we are creating that slant towards the side. So you're going to go into the second bin stitch with 1 bin stitch. So chain 1 bin stitch into the next. So basically what we've done is decreasing the number of bin stitches for this row by 1. So if you had a total of 10 bin stitches for your previous row, you should be having a total of 9 bin stitches. I'll confirm that at the end of this row. So you just continue to chain 1 bin stitch, chain 1 bin stitch, chain 1, and then 1 bin stitch into the very last bin stitch. So let's confirm what I just said. This is the very first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can see the number of bin stitches has gone down by 1. So you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. This row is going to be a non-decrease row. So you go into the very first bin stitch with a bin stitch and continue to place 1 bin stitch in each and every bin stitch. So that means the number of bin stitches is still the same as the previous row. So if you had 9 for your previous row, you should be having 9 for this one, for this row. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Okay, now you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. We are now going to do our next decrease. So you skip the very first bin stitch. We don't go into that space. And you go into the second one with 1 bin stitch. And then continue to place 1 bin stitch in each and every bin stitch, making sure you separate each with a chain 1 space. So everything else remains the same, basically. We are not doing anything different from what we were doing before. The only difference is we are creating the v-neck. Okay, chain 1 and turn. This is a non-decrease row, so you just go across into each and every bin stitch. So at this point, you should be having a total of 8 bin stitches if you're following the same exact pattern as mine. But for the other sizes, just follow the same exact instructions that I'm giving. You'll be having a different number of stitches, but just pay attention, pay close attention to what I'm saying, and you'll get it right. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're going to chain 1 and turn. This is our decrease row. whenever we come to this part, you can see the work has started moving in. So that means we are creating the v-neck of the vest. So you're going to chain one and turn your work, skip the very first stitch. And at this point, you should be already seeing the side where you're supposed to be decreasing. The decrease rows, the decrease only happens at the beginning of the row, not at the end of the row. Just note that. So when you're coming to the non-decrease rows, just like I'm doing right now, you chain one and turn. You just place one bin stitch into each and every stitch across. We don't decrease at the end of the rows. Okay, so we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and you can see the number of bin stitches is decreasing every other 2 rows. So you're going to continue to do this until you get the number of rows that you need for your white yarn. So for me, I have so far a total of 6 rows, and I need a total of 14 rows. So I'm going to just repeat this sequence, creating the v-neck until I have a total of 14 rows of the white. Alright guys, so I have a total of 14 rows. Just do the number of rows that you require to do for your size. And I have a total of 3 bin stitches left here. So the number of bin stitches that you should have at this point should be way less than what you had at the beginning of the very first row of this color. So I had a total of 9 at the beginning, and now I have a total of 3. So the moment you're done with that, you're going to just chain one. The moment you get the number of rows that you need, you're going to chain one and cut your yarn, and then pull through. Now we're going to attach our next color, which is black. All right, so get your black yarn or whatever color that you're using for your piece. You're going to make a slip knot and then attach into that very last bin stitch that you made for the previous row. So just like we've been doing before, just attach there, and you're going to chain one bin stitch into the same exact bin stitch where you attached your yarn, like that. Chain one bin stitch into the next, chain one. So this time we are not decreasing at all. We are maintaining the number of bin stitches for a total of 14 rows, or whatever number of rows that you're doing for your patches. So just chain one and turn, and then you do your bin stitches, making sure that you're not doing any decreases or increases. So far I have a total of 3 rows, and you can see I have a total of 3 bin stitches for each and every row. Chain one and turn, and then 1 bin stitch into each bin stitch. So continue to do that, and I'll meet you back after my 14 rows, or the number of rows that you need for your patch. Alright guys, so I have a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I have my 14 rows of black and only 3 bin stitches across each row. After this, you're going to chain one and cut your yarn, leaving a strand. So this is what we have right now, and you can see this already signifies that this is the exact middle of the vest, because we have the v-neck shaping at this point. So we are now going to make our second middle panel, and what we are going to do is to repeat the same exact process. The only difference is we are now going to start with black yarn instead of the white. I started with white so that I can show you the stitches visibly. And yeah, now the next panel, you're going to make sure that you start with black, and for me, I've already done that, as you can see here. You're going to start with black, and the aligning is going to be like this, as you can see here. Yeah, so when we are aligning our work, we are going to have something that looks like this. You can see the V-neck shaping is here. So all you have to do is start with black this time, and then you do the same exact process and then place your work like this, making sure that the V is created at the front. Now we are going to go on to our next panels. So for the next panels, they're going to be quite smaller. So here I started with a chain of 20, as well as this, because this is a duplicate of this. I started with a chain of 20, but now for the next panel, which is here, you're going to make sure that you decrease the number of the starting chains by 4. So if you started with 20 here, you're going to make sure you start with a total of 16 chains. If you started with 22, then you're going to make sure you start with a chain of 18 for the next panel. So this is the panel that we are talking about. You can see it's much thinner than the middle panels, as you can see here. So you're going to start with your chain less by 4 chains from this panel. So 20 minus 4 is 16. So this is what I started with here. And I continue to make a total of 14 rows of each and every color all the way down. And here you're going to make a total of 8 patches. So what that is going to create is both the front and the back. So 4 patches at the front and 4 patches at the back, like this, as you can see here. So you'll just fold it over so that we don't have to seam this area here. So 8 patches of 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 colors, but 14 rows, or whatever number of rows that's required for your particular size, as we determined on this very first panel. So once you're done with that, you're going to make another piece exactly like this one of the 8 patches. And this time we are going to place it like this. Make sure the colors are contrasting, so you can see how I'm placing. If it's white here, I make sure this is a black on the opposite side, so that when we are connecting, we have 2 contrasting colors that are meeting. So here, same thing. You're going to make a total of 8 patches, as you can see, a very long patch. And then make sure you place it in a way that the contrasting colors is the contrasting color from this one is the one meeting here. So place it in a way that white meets black. And this is what we have so far. I hope it now makes sense. Just fold it over. So what we are left with right now is to create the panels that are going to the back here. So we have the front panels sorted, but we don't have the back panels. So we're going to remove these. And now we're going to create 2 more panels with the starting chain of these middle panels. Remember, we had a total of 20 chains across. That's the number that you're going to consider. The number of the very first panel is the one that you're going to consider to make these patches. So for me, I had a total of 20, so I did 20. And then 14 rows of each panel until I had a total of 4 patches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to place this on this side. As you can see, now we are catering for the back, and you have to make sure the 2 contrasting colors meet. So place it like that. So let's just open up this so that this doesn't get confusing for us. And then you're going to get another patch, which is this one, same exact as this one. And we're going to place it like this. So I think this is the best where I could explain it. So these patches in the middle are 2, and they're identical, just like we have the 2 middle patches of the front panel being identical. So here we are not doing any decreases, as you can see. It just stops here. And then these ones on the side have an elongation that comes to the front, and then also here like this, like that. And then we reintroduce our front panels like that, and make sure the colors are in order. The colors are where they're supposed to be. So this is what we have. These are all the patches that are needed for our vest. This is the bottom, and this is the front, and this is the back. The back is literally this without the v-neck. I don't want to switch it because I haven't yet joined. So make sure you do your panels and finish all of them. I know it's a lot of work, but this took me about like 6 hours to do the full thing. And if you're watching something, this should be a walkover. This shouldn't be something that's very complicated. So now we are now going to start joining. All right, guys, so now that we know the arrangement of the sweater vest, we're going to get our very first panel. We're going to also get our darning needle and get the yarn that we are going to be using for joining. So this is my very first panel, as you can see here, the one that's folded, the one that caters for both the front and the back. So you're going to get your darning needle and thread it with whatever color that you've chosen to use to join. And then you're going to get one of your front panels, which is this one. Make sure you don't mix up the arrangement of the piece. So what we're going to do right now is to go into these spaces. So I'm going to explain everything, don't worry. So we go at the base of the row and we start joining. We are joining the upper panel only. You can see this. We are not joining this lower one as yet. So at this point, you can make a knot here so that the yarn doesn't keep pulling while we join our pieces together. So just make a knot there. So we've started joining the front piece. So we go at the base of the row and then go into the row. So let me explain that using the white. We go into this very first row, down at the base of the row, into the next row. And then we start joining like that, all the way up. So I don't know which method you prefer to use, but this is what I'm going for. It's called the mattress stitch. So we're going to do that all the way up using this strand. As you can see, we have a fairly decent join on the 2 colors. So just continue doing that and I'll meet you back at the top. All right, guys, so I'm all the way to the top, and now I'm joining the very last edge, the very top edge here. Just go through here and through here. So I still have a very long strand here, and I think I can go ahead and join one of the back panels that's supposed to go here to the back. So you remember those 4 patches that are supposed to go to the back panel? I think I'm going to just go ahead and join it because I still have enough yarn to go all the way down to this side. So yeah. So all I'm going to do is join all the way to the end here, and this is the back panel, guys. Don't forget, the part that doesn't have the v-neck shaping is the back panel, and you can see it here. And when it comes to the front panel, we have that shaping here, and we shall join this later on. So just go all the way down and attach this. All right, guys, so I'm done with joining that panel, the back panel, the middle back panel to the edging. So the moment you're done with that, you're going to just leave that strand there because we may need it later on. We never know. But this is what we have for now. We have literally joined 1/2 of the sweater vest, and this is what we have right now. So we're going to introduce our next piece, which is the second half of the middle of the sweater vest. So this, the one that creates the v-neck. And now we are going to get another yarn and start joining. So this doesn't have to be very long because we are just joining from here all the way to here at the base of the v-neck. So just join the same exact way as I showed you before. Join at the base, and then you make a knot so that your yarn doesn't keep pulling through. The moment you're done with that, you're going to just start joining row to row, going into the white and into the black, creating the mattress stitch. So for those wondering how the back side of the work looks like, this is what we are going to create. It's still very neat at the wrong side. It just creates a little bump, but it's a very neat finish. So just go all the way until the base of the v-neck, joining the same exact way as before. So when you get to these strands, just push them to the back so that they don't get in our way. So we are almost coming to the end of this joining, and as I told you before, we are joining only until the base of the v-neck. So this is our very last joining, and this is what we have, guys. Everything is just coming together so well. When you're done with this, you're just going to push your yarn to the back, and then you just leave a short strand. If they're so long, they're going to disturb us. Just push it to the back. We shall weave it in later on. And then we are going to introduce our next panel, which is this very long one, this one here. And you have to place it in a way that after white we get black. So just put it like this and grab your yarn, get another strand of yarn, because this one has to be long, because it has to join all the way from here, from the base here, and then it also goes and joins to the back panel, just like we did for this one. So just do that real quick and I'll meet you back after that. All the way from here, all the way up, and then reintroduce this panel that's going to go to the back here. And make sure after joining all the way up to up here, you go to this side, joining the back panel. So I hope I'm clear on that. So let me start joining this one. Okay guys, so I am done with the second one, and this is what we have. Now you're going to turn your work onto this side, the back side, which is now we are only left with joining that middle section, joining the two panels together in the middle section. Now you're just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and do that, joining the same exact way as the other panels, and then I'll show you what to do next. All right, so this is finished, and this is basically what we have. You can see it's quite small, that's why I said this will be for an extra small to small size. So when you turn it to this side, which is the front side, that's where we have the v-neck. And now we are going to join the sides. We're just going to join two patches, this one and this one here on the edging, as well as this side. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. And then later on we shall go onto the ribbing. So just go ahead and join from the base all the way to here, and then same applies to this side, from the base all the way to here. Just place your work like this and repeat the same exact process that we've been doing for the other panels. So you can notice that literally the whole vest I have used black yarn to join everything. So just choose one color, it's enough, it won't show through. So we're almost coming to the end of the second patch, and we are joining our very last stitches together. The moment you're done with that, leave this part unworked, unjoined, because this is the armhole. And as you can see here, this is the armhole of the vest. So do the same on this side. Just join from here all the way to here. So once you're done with all those things, you should be having the general shape of your sweater vest. As you can see, we have the armholes here, the neck opening, as well as everything put together. When you turn your work to the back, everything is together at this point. Now you're going to get your darning needle and we're going to join one last part, which is this one. You remember we had 3 stitches here. You're going to get that tail that you left behind, and we're going to join it you're going to count 3 bin stitches in. So we have 1, 2, 3, and into the third you're going to join there. So join this bin stitch to the third bin stitch, then the next to the next 2 times. Just make sure you're joining 2 times. And the moment you're done with that, just push your loose end onto the inside, to the wrong side of the work. And we are going to do the same exact thing here. Okay, count 1, 1, 2, 3, and into the third you join 2 times. Into the next, and then into the last, which is this one. And when you're done with that, just push the loose end to the wrong side of the work. And that's it. So for the ribbing at the base, we are going to be using black. You're going to attach your yarn in any of the spaces, the chain 1 spaces. So just go there and attach your yarn and make a chain of 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now you're going to go back on it into the second chain from the hook and place 1 single crochet into each and every chain. So you should be having a total of 9 single crochets, like that. And then go into that space of the bin stitch with 1 slip stitch, and then your second slip stitch will be in the chain 1 space, and then you turn your work and go into the single crochets with 1 single crochet, back loop only. So you're going to chain 1 single crochet in each of the 9 single crochets, but into the back loop. So when you get to the main body of the vest, you go into the bin stitch and into the chain 1 space here, and those are our 2 slip stitches. And then you turn your work and single crochet in each single crochet. Just make sure you skip over the slip stitches, we don't work anything there. Okay, so when you make it all the way around the base of the sweater vest, you're going to have something that looks like this. So we are done with the ribbing around, and you chain 1 and cut your yarn, leaving a tail to weave in. And we are going to use that tail and thread it into the darning needle. And we are going to attach the ribbing. As you can see, we still have an opening here. So you're going to start joining stitch to stitch on the 2 opposite sides. Till the very last stitch. And now we are going to push this tail onto the wrong side of the vest. Just push it in. And that's basically it for the base ribbing of our vest. Now we're going to go onto the ribbing of the neckline. Alright, so the placement of the colors on the neckline, as you can see on the original vest, one side has white, the other side has black. So the placement is going to be determined by what color is here at the base. So if you have black here, that means this side is going to be white. And if you have white here, then that means this side is going to be black. So you're going to get your crochet hook, make a slip knot. And now we're going to attach our yarn at the very base of the V-neck. Just find the exact center. And we're going to attach our white yarn or whatever yarn that you have decided to use for your neckline ribbing. Now you're going to chain 2 and go into the second chain from the hook with 1 single crochet. And then go into the very first row of the bean stitches with a slip stitch, and then go into the next row with a slip stitch like that. Then turn your work and single crochet 2 times into the back loop of the single crochet from the previous row like that. And then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to go into the very first single crochet with a single crochet, and then the second single crochet with a single crochet, and then you'll see this space here that will be the next row of the bean stitch. You're going to make a slip stitch there and a slip stitch into the next row like that. Turn your work, single crochet into the first single crochet here, and then single crochet 2 times into the back loop only. Don't forget, when we are working the ribbing, you only place the single crochets in the back loop only. Then after this, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. So this is your non-increase row. So you just go into each and every single crochet into the back loop with only 1 single crochet. Okay, so we're going to go into the next row, slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the next row. Turn your work. This is the increase row, so single crochet back loop only into the first single crochet in the back loop of the next single crochet, and into the last you're going to place a total of 2 single crochets. Now we have a total of 4 single crochets across, and we're going to keep repeating this, doing the non-increase row and the increase row until we have a total of 6 stitches across. So this row will still have 4 single crochets, and then slip stitch into the next row, slip stitch into the next row, turn your work, single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch until the second last stitch, and then into the last you're going to place 2 single crochets back loop only. Now we have a total of 5. Then chain 1, turn your work. This is the non-increase row, so we are doing 1 single crochet into each and every single crochet. Then slip stitch into the next row, slip stitch into the next row, turn your work, single crochet into each single crochet until the second last stitch, and then into the last one you're placing 2 single crochets into the back loop. So far we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means we've achieved the number of stitches that we need for our ribbing, and from now on we are just going to keep working back and forth but not making any more increases. We are going to leave the ribbing at 6 stitches. So just keep doing what we've been doing before, all the way to... Alright guys, so this is what everything looks like. I've just made it all the way up here until the top, and I want to show you what to do when it comes to this part. We're going to apply the same exact knowledge that we used for the base of the sweater vest, and I think I'm really pleased with how this is coming out. It's creating that round effect, and I don't know if I'll even join this part. I feel like this opening is just too beautiful, but we shall see when it comes to the end of the project. So when you come to the top here, you're going to just chain 1 and work your single crochet back loops only. And at this point, you should still be having a total of 6 single crochets for your ribbon row. Right? So when it comes to here, we have to place the slip stitches into the chain 1 space and then into the bin stitch, just like we did for the base of the sweater vest. I hope you still remember it. Then turn and single crochet back loop only into each and every stitch. Chain 1, turn, single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch. Then slip stitch into the next chain 1 space and into the next bin stitch and turn your work. And that's it. Just keep working that until we get to that point that I showed you, the exact middle of the sweater vest where the black is supposed to start from. Alright everyone, so I've reached that point where we are at the exact middle. I think I should do one more row. As you can see here, we still have some space here. So let me just do one more row. So after that, you're going to make a slip stitch into the black and then chain 1 and you're going to cut your yarn. Because at this point we are done with the white portion. Now we are going to switch to the black, and this is what we have. I hope your work is looking exactly like mine. I love the way everything is coming together. So you're going to get your black yarn and you're going to make a slip knot. You're going to attach it anywhere near where you left off with the white. Just attach it there. So after attaching your black yarn, you are going to make 1 slip stitch into the next bin stitch and turn your work, and then make 1 single crochet back loop only. So we've made only 1 slip stitch because the other slip stitch was made with the white. Remember, we only made 1 slip stitch when we were finishing with the white. And then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work and single crochet back loop only. So that's the repeat for this. Very easy, very straightforward. And we're just going to repeat this until we get back to the main body. So here you make 1 slip stitch and 1 slip stitch, 1 in the chain 1 space and 1 in the bin stitch, and then turn your work and single crochet, just like we've been doing for the white. The white yarn could demonstrate everything very nicely, but for the black I'm going to just duplicate the same exact process because the yarn is even very hard to see what exactly is going on. So just repeat the same process for your black yarn until, let me show you what's going on right now. You can see the black has started taking over, and you're going to do black until we get to around this level. So you can see it's around this level where we stopped increasing, where we got the 6 stitches. So we shall stop around here. Just mirror the same exact thing. Just stop around here. Once you get here, I'll show you what to do next. So I've reached that point when I feel like it's time to start decreasing. And let me work on a white patch so that you can see what I'm doing. So you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and instead of working into the very first stitch, you're going to skip it and go into the second stitch and continue working your single crochet back loops only into each and every stitch after that. And then slip stitch into the next row and slip stitch into the next row, and then turn your work slip stitch in, sorry, single crochet in every single crochet, but only in the back loop. I'm going to do more of talking right now because we can't see the stitches very clearly. After this, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then skip the very first stitch and go into the next stitch with 1 single crochet into the back loop, and continue to single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch. After that, you're going to go into the next row with 1 slip stitch and into the next row with another slip stitch. Turn your work. This is the non-decrease row, so single crochet back loop only into each and every stitch. So far we have a total of 4 stitches, and then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and skip the very first stitch. This is the decrease row, so skip the first stitch and single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, and then go into the next row with 1 slip stitch, next row with 1 slip stitch, turn your work, and then single crochet in each and every stitch. So far we have 3 stitches still. Chain 1, turn your work, skip the first stitch and go into the next with 1 single crochet back loop only and 1 single crochet back loop only in the last stitch. So now we have 2 stitches, and then you're going to slip stitch into the next row and slip stitch into the next row, turn your work, single crochet back loop only into each and every stitch, so 2 stitches only, and then chain 1, turn your work, skip the very first stitch and single crochet in the last stitch. So now we have only 1 stitch left on our row, and then you're going to make 1 slip stitch into the next row, which is the final row, and slip stitch at the exact base of the V-neck of the sweater vest. After that, you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn, leaving a long strand to weave in. So let's see what we have right now. This is what we've come up with. I think this is really nice. Now, before we weave in our tails, we are going to work on the ribbing of the armholes. So the colors that you've put on either side is going to determine which color is going to go on the armhole. If you have black on this side, you're going to have black on this side. If you have white on this side, white on this side. So let's work on the white side first so that we can see the stitches clearly, and then we shall work on the black one later on. Since we've gone through the ribbing of the neckline, this is going to be a walkover for us. It shouldn't be something very hard because we now know what to do. We're going to attach our yarn at the very base of the armhole, and we're going to go around creating a ribbing. Okay, so this is what we have, and you're going to make a chain of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a chain of 7, and then go back on it with 1 single crochet. We have a total of 6 single crochets. Go into the very first row, make a slip stitch, go into the next row, slip stitch, turn your work, and single crochet back loop only into each and every stitch. So that's all. We're going to repeat that. Chain 1 and turn, 1 single crochet back loop only into each and every single crochet. So we should be having a total of 6 single crochets in the back loop, and then you're going to slip stitch into the next row and slip stitch into the next row, turn your work, single crochet back loop only into each and every single crochet. So just repeat that all the way around until you come back to the very beginning of the round. So just go all the way around the armhole, creating the ribbing. Alright guys, so I've basically run out of all the yarn that I have, both the black and the white, but I'm going to explain what you need to do. You're going to move all the way around the armholes, and when it comes to this very final part, you will join the two parts together, just like we did for the bottom ribbing of the sweater vest. And then you'll attach your yarn, your black yarn on this side, and do the same exact thing as what we have here. At least you have the demonstration of the ribbing. It's also going to come to the front, just like we see it here. And after that, you just go ahead to weave in all your ends. One thing that I wanted to point out at this point, you can either join that part like this to get the real feel of the Wednesday Addams sweater vest, but I feel like this is just fine because the stitch that we used shrinks, and when we pull it together like this, it's going to just make our sweater vest narrow. So I think I'll leave out that part, but that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'm so sorry I couldn't finish it up with you, but you'll be seeing the final result on the thumbnail and on my Instagram page. So I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I post such tutorials. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.